Well, here we go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to, first of all, 2015. Happy New Year. Happy Google Hangout New Year. It's already mid-February, but that's the first Hangout we're going to have in 2015. Well, and we are halfway through the main round of the Women's Champions League, so there is no better opportunity, we thought, to talk about how the teams go, the 12 teams who are still left in the competition. And, well, we've got familiar faces with 2015 haircuts joining us here at the Hangout. I welcome Björn Hudson from Germany, who had his haircut in Doha just about 2 weeks ago. Hi, Björn.
Hello.
I welcome Nemanja, who joins us from Belgrade in Serbia. Nemanja, no new haircut for you, but still in good form and shape, I hope?
Yeah, pretty much in good form and shape. Hello, everyone.
And Peter, new haircut. Didn't trust the Qatari hairdressers, I've heard, but went all the way home to Denmark to have his haircut. How are you, Peter?
I'm fine, thanks. Hope everyone else also is, and hello to everyone.
Well, just in case you have forgotten, obviously, that we cover this event not only here on Google, but also on our Twitter account. So if you do have any questions to one of our three journalists here, please tweet them on the @EHFCL channel. If you are following us on Google, you can also use the Q&A question and answer tool on Google, and we will throw in your questions as they come. Peter, you've already also not only been to Qatar for the World Championship, but also with us at the Euro in Hungary and Croatia. And there's a Norwegian team in the Champions League, and obviously Norway having won the Euro. There are a couple of players who kind of seem desperate to return to Budapest in the EHF Final Four. Larvik became the first team to qualify for the quarterfinals. A surprise for you?
No, not really a surprise when you look at that team. The only surprise, only really surprising results I've seen from them so far is that they could go to Dur and win by one down there. Very few teams do that, even though we have to realize that Dur may not be at the same strength as they used to be. But no, it's no real surprise to me that Larvik are where they are at the moment, and we can only hope that they will actually be able to go back to Budapest. I think that based on what they can do on the courts, they will definitely. We will definitely see them in Budapest in early May. But as we also know, they're struggling with some very serious financial problems at the moment. They have a deadline for Friday this week to make it, to avoid a bankruptcy. The news or the messages I get from Norway are positive at the moment. It seems that they are making it, and we can, of course, all of us only hope for that on behalf of Larvik, and also because, of course, on behalf of women's handball in general, that this great club and this great team will make it. Not least as I think we can expect a lot from them in the tournament further on.
Yeah, just because you mentioned it and. Then we can kind of close this topic. You say news are positive. Obviously, we have to wait what the eventual outcome is. But did you have the impression that it kind of affected their play, or do you think it was all the time kind of two separate things, like the financial situation of the club on the one hand, and then the actual performance on the court on the other hand?
Well, the only player from Larvik I've spoken to recently is Nora Mørk, and I think she wrapped it up pretty well what the players think. As she said, of course we can't avoid thinking of it. We can't avoid it affecting us because it's our future, it's our living, and of course it's also our heart. It's the team and the club we play for. So of course it affects us, but we try the best we can to put it aside and realize that only by performing on courts and focusing on that, only that way we can help the club, making people realize, making sponsors realize, making investors realize that here is a product which is good to give priority and to invest in, and that's basically the only way you can act in such a situation. And as we all sadly know, the Larvik players are not the only ones who have or have had to face such situations over recent years. That has been the situation in many clubs all over Europe. not only female teams but also male teams, that you stand in the situation, will we have a job tomorrow or next week, and will our club make it? And basically that's probably the only way you can attack it. Try to put it aside and concentrate on what you're good at, doing well on court. And from what Larvik have been performing lately, I think we can conclude that that's exactly what the players have succeeded at, focusing on what they're good at and playing well on the court.
Let's go back to the sports side of things, and Björn, staying with Larvik. I mean, in particular, this win at Gjør in the first round of the main round, did that push Larvik into like an overall favorites role for you, or was that a one-off and they might not be the favorites at all?
No, I would say definitely they have given a signal to all the other clubs that what they're able to and what abilities they have in this season. And this shows when you see that when did Gjør last lose a home match. So you have to look back very long time. So I would say that Larvik is ready for Budapest. But with the new playing system in the quarterfinal, you never know which team you will face, and so it can be a tough opponent even in the quarterfinal. But I would not say that Larvik are in the role for the main favorite for Budapest. This really depends on the quarterfinal, and then of course for the draw of Budapest. So then yeah, but Larvik, of course, they are a team which can definitely go to Budapest, and they are a team which definitely can go to the final. When you compare it with the other teams, as Peter mentioned, Gjør face big problems what their personal is due to pregnancy and injuries. Vardar is far below what they might be able to, and Baia Mare maybe comes now. So I would say that Larvik is belonging to the 2 or 3 teams at the moment which must take the favorite role for the rest of the season.
Nemanja, you're obviously living quite close to Podgorica, and with Budapest being the only other team who hasn't lost a game so far, has Larvik's performance been noted in Montenegro?
I'm guessing, yeah. I'm guessing that they're actually doing quite extensive scouting on their potential rivals, all of them. But you've seen, I need to throw back on the Euro a little bit, because you know, the Budućnost is the core of the national team, that they use it as a preparation, you know, and what they've learned at the Euro, they're definitely going to use at Budućnost, because they're aiming to go to the finals and maybe win, and I don't think anything less will suffice for them. So yeah, Larvik is definitely among the plans, if not one of the top plans for them to in their preparation.
Does 2014, and I mean, I think they lost the final to Gjør by 6 goals, as far as I remember. Is that still weigh on Budapest's minds, or is that something that they've kind of forgotten and say, you know, look, we're playing another successful season and we can go all the way maybe this time?
Well, I think the second thing that you've said, it's what you're going to read in the papers from them. But the first thing you've said, knowing the way they're mentally prepared, is definitely going to be what's on their minds. They're definitely eager to get revenge, but I'm personally not sure that Gjør is going to be in the finals in the first place. So we're going to see. But they're very much motivated. Ajit told me on numerous occasions that the finals is the goal for this season, and I think that they're going to accomplish it, because anything less, it's not going to suffice for the Budućnost. I think this is the season for them.
Björn, coming straight to Gjør, what Nemanja mentioned. What do you think in the midterm, long run is the biggest threat for them? The fact that they might only place second in the group and hence potentially face Vardar in the quarterfinal, depending how things turn out, or you know, one of the 2 German teams, or the fact that they have lost throughout the season so many players, as you mentioned before, due to pregnancy, like Gerwitz, like Lunde, or due to injuries like Amorim?
So the funny thing is, we talk that they might end on the second position, but if they win at Larvik by 2 or 3 goals, they're again in the better position for finishing than on top. But if everything runs normal and they don't win at Larvik, of course I would say they finish second. And when you just look on the table, we have the last match day in the other group is the 2 German teams face, and I would say those teams face for 1 space or 1 spot in the quarterfinal. And then normally, if everything runs normal, but you never know at Vardar, is that they finish third. So we have a quarterfinal of Gjør versus Vardar, and this can be a big threat for Gjør missing the Final Four in Budapest. I don't think that if they face a German team that they're endangered on the way to Budapest. But if they face Vardar, of course, they have it in the back of their head. So they have the fate in their hand to turn it around and to leave out the match with Vardar if they win at Larvik. So they have it in their hands, and maybe Larvik stumbles somewhere also, which I don't expect because they're quite stable at the moment, and they, as Peter said, they keep out their financial problems. So I would say that Gjør will put everything in the second leg in Larvik to win there, to have a better position. Because otherwise they really have in their minds that facing Skopje in the quarterfinals might be the end of the hopes and dreams.
How much of an effect do all these players that they, or how much of a toll do all these players they have to replace take on the team from your point of view, Björn? Or can they replace them?
Especially in the goalkeeper position, of course, they have lost Lunde and they signed Grubicic, and then Grubicic got injured, so they signed Kari Alsbo now. So the second change in the goalkeeper in a very crucial position, and then of course they lost their playmaker in Gerbitz. Amorin is out, so this really affects their defense and attack. And as you said right at the start of the season, then 30% of the success of Gjør, in my opinion, was Lunde. And so they're absolutely hit hard by all these effects and injuries. So, but they cannot say, okay, we have to deal with it now. And they cannot just say, okay, we are weaker. I think the extension of the contract with Ambrosch Martin was a signal saying, okay, let's go on for long-term planning. But of course, in the short-term planning, it's not to exit before Budapest.
What's the talk of town in Larvik in Norway, as far as you can tell, Peter, ahead of this crucial match against Gjør? I think it's in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, it's in a little bit less than 2 weeks' time. Well, of course, still given that they make the financial hurdle, of course the expectations are great. And personally, I think that 1 week after let's fingers crossed, they have managed their financial to overcome their financial hurdle. I'm sure that we will see a Larvik team in that to that degree being keen on celebrating that against Gjør. So for me, it's difficult to see Gjør win in the Arena Larvik at the state they're in at the moment, and that's also what I feel is the general feeling in Norway and in Norwegian handball that Larvik can make this one. If only so to say, the situation outside the court is cleared, then I believe that we will see a Larvik team who can copy the triumph from Gjør, not least as the way I've seen those two teams so far this season on this main round. Larvik simply seem to have the better team, so they have great expectations, and they have justified expectations the way I see it.
Nemanja, we've been dropping a name every now and then in the 15 minutes that we've been talking already. Vardar, I think. I mean, I don't have the info right in front of me, but at least a few of you probably had them down as a Final Four participant ahead of the season. Now we're looking at see them placed 5th at the moment in Group 1, 5 points. Still with the possibility to qualify for the quarterfinals, but probably way below of what they expected. Easy question: what is going on in Vardar?
Well, with the 2 consecutive losses, they've certainly made it harder for themselves. But Vardar is in complete mess right now, I reckon. I haven't spoke to anyone directly from the club regarding that certain question because I'm not sure that anybody would have told me what's going on. But you've seen that they brought Kim Rasmussen. They've lost the game. Kim Rasmussen gone. They brought Jan Pitlik. They lost the game. Well, Pitlik stays for now, but we're going to see what happens. But what I can tell you for sure that Rasmussen gone, the reason is not that they've lost the game, it's something else. But Vardar need to get their heads down and be sure about what they do. They need more confidence in their coach. If it's going to be Indira Kostratovic, great. If it's going to be Pitlik, great. But 2 persons, I'm not sure that that's the approach that's going to take them anywhere. And they need to sort out what's going on in their playing staff because players are used to running stuff one way when Indira Kostratovic is leading team, and I'm 100% certain that that's not going to be the case under Jan Pitlik. And the way the relationship between Pitlik and Lekic is going to function, that's going to be the final outcome for Vardar. So I think we're going to be much smarter when we see the end of the group. But at this point, Vardar has a lot of stuff to do.
This is, I think, psychologists would have loved your answer because there were so many things to read between the lines. Very diplomatic. Peter, what was the reaction in Denmark when Jan Pitlik joined Vardar? Well, so shortly after another Danish coach just stayed there for, I think it was 28 days or so that Kim Rasmussen stayed in Vardar.
The general reaction was surprise, not that Jan Pitlik joined Vardar, but the fact that his role was more or less undefined. If he had gone there as head coach, it would have been fine with everyone. It would have been logical to everyone in Danish handball, but this position as some kind of consultant of what it is a bit has been a bit difficult to understand by many people in Danish handball. Many have been asking, is he really that hungry for a job that he will just take anything, and how will things work out between him and Kostratovic and the mentality in the club and everything, and also of course seen in direct connection with one Dane already having left the club. Of course, the man has more insight in the situation in Vardar than I have, but I've also heard a few things about the reason for Kim Rasmussen leaving, and I'm not going to indulge any further into that either. But in any case, many eyes are on Pitlik at the moment, watching what will his role be and what will the entire outcome of this engagement with Vardar become. It has definitely increased the interest in Macedonian handball, women's handball in Denmark at the moment, I can say.
Björn, from the outside as well, what's your stand on the project Vardar, so to say, and what might have gone wrong from your point of view this season after they reached the Final Four last season?
Yeah, it was funny for me to see. I covered the match of Vardar in the Volvo on last Sunday, and it was funny to see Pitlik sitting behind the bench, and in the first 10-15 minutes when the match was equal, he was giving some advice to Kostratovic from behind the bench, from the tribune, and the last 15 minutes he was only in a kind of state of shock behind the bench when it was +9 for Dynamo at this point. So I think we discussed the Vardar project last year already, and everybody said, yeah, it's going too fast. Maybe they signed 13 new players and they have a world selection there in Skopje, and yes, they made it to the Final Four, and they made it in a quite good and deserved way. But this year it might also be that everybody expected, okay, they're well rehearsed as a team now, but they're not well rehearsed as a team, and maybe it's the position of the coach. When you're a coach and then you say, okay, you get a consultant, this undermines a little bit the power of a coach. And then this consultant is out after 28 days and you get a new consultant now as a coach. And then who is responsible for the team? Is it still Kostratovic? I think that the club owner, Samsonenko, does not want to touch her, to throw her out, but he wants to have, okay, we have a new expert now. We're giving a new input on the team, but yeah, we can all wish Jan Pitlik that it works and that there's a longer time in Vardar than Kim Rasmussen. But I believe that it's still a mixture of 15, 16 individual players, and still it must grow as a team, or it must be rehearsed as a team. And this is not running as they want to have it. I'm absolutely sure that they make it to the quarterfinal. And of course, it's the top players like Lekic. They don't have the best season at the moment. She was also injured and things like this. But I will still say it's like Paris Saint-Germain and the men's Champions League, that it's the same thing, that 15, 16 top players are not supposed to be a top team. They have to grow.
Björn already said it. He says a star ensemble, which probably doesn't gel enough as of yet, but enough to make to the quarterfinal. Quick verdict on Vardar, Nemanja, from you. Enough to make to the quarterfinal?
Yes, I think so. I think the sheer quality of the playing staff is going to get them through, but we'll see afterwards.
Yeah, Peter, just a quick verdict on Vardar. Enough to make to the quarterfinals?
It should be, but then again, I was also shocked by their big defeat and the way they actually almost collapsed in Volgograd. So you never know. I would say that they should be able to make it to the quarterfinals, not least when you see the remaining program. But I wouldn't bet much money on it.
Yeah. Peter, Björn, you both mentioned Vardar's game against Volgograd. 33-25. They just need, I think, one more point to mathematically definitely qualify for the quarterfinals. I think, and I hope I'm not wrong, but I think no one really had Volgograd in mind when we talked at the start of the season. What's your opinion of this team, Björn?
It's so funny. In the previous years, they always missed the main stages, and the funny thing of Volgograd in this season is usually they won all their home matches, but then they did not get any point in away matches. But when you see in the group phase in the first stage that below Gjør and Larvik, that Dynamo was the best away team, it's very surprising how they play away, because usually in away matches they lose by 4, 5, 6 goals, so they become really stable. And in away matches, they won in a very clear way. They won, for example, 2 weeks ago at Thüringer AC in Germany. And so this new away strength puts them in a good position. When you saw Vardar, of course, made it them quite easy to win last Sunday with 19 turnovers. But you see, it's a complete old Russian school what they played. They did not score a single goal by counterattacks. They have these real good individual top players in the backcourt access like Koshetova, and they have a strong, powerful defense. And this year it works in away matches. I think in the last years it was always the problem. They had enough points at home, but nothing at the away matches. And I think they gained confidence or whatever, and they will definitely, of course, make it to the quarterfinal. 1 point from 3 matches is definitely clear. And the interesting thing is which team they will face in the quarterfinals. And maybe we have something like Dynamo against Baia Mare, for example, and then I like Peter, I would not bet big money on both teams, because then it's for me a very open thing. Baia Mare coming, and Dynamo also a surprise team that we get one. Maybe Dynamo is a big surprise team for the Final Four, but I think in our season start prediction, nobody had them on the field.
Nemanja, what's your stand on Dynamo as far as you could follow their performance?
Well, as far as I could follow, Björn said everything I actually wanted to say about Dynamo. Textbook performance against Vardar. It was just exactly what I needed to do, and they followed it thoroughly, just perfect one. Biggest surprise for me also, and I'm eager to see how the season is going to unravel for them.
Another team you mentioned, and you guys mentioned another team who kind of seems to find its feet. Baia Mare came to the main round with 0 points, are now on 4, so they won two out of their 3 matches. Romanian team, Peter, you were in in Debrecen following Romania at the Euro, and they kind of staged a bit of a comeback in the main round as well. Do you see the same happening now for Baia Mare?
I definitely see a Baia Mare team who under Tone Tischel seem to get their many individualists functioning much better as a team, like a team than they used to, in my opinion. I of course watched the match in Viborg on Sunday. I actually covered that one, and to me it seems that Tone Tischel has really made a team out of those many stars, and I'm pretty convinced, not least looking at the remaining schedule of the main round, that we will see them in the quarterfinal, and that they may also be able to achieve something there. I was actually quite impressed, not less by their flexible and movable defense in that away match, and I think we will definitely see more on Baia Mare. I didn't have many expectations in them ahead of the main round. Who could? A team with 0 points, as far as I remember, the only team among the 12 teams which had no points with them to the main round. But I must say that they have improved considerably.
Yeah, Björn, they have the Dutch woman Lois Abbing, and she came back from injury and well joined the team only now in the new year. I just checked, and you probably know better, but she scored 60 goals in the EHF Cup for Oldenburg, I think, in the 2010-11 season. Is she such a player who can make the difference, and who is probably the difference? I think she has been top scorer twice now in the 3 matches they played.
Yes, when you see Lois Abbing in the history, she was the top scorer of the Women's Youth World Championship, I think, in 2010. And yes, she was a player taking a lot of responsibility in Oldenburg, and she was very good in scoring. And she missed out the Euro in Hungary and Croatia to be fit again for a club. She had operation, and now she's back. And Lois Abbing is a young player. She's very good in one-to-one, and she's like the Dutch players from the mentality side is a little bit like Scandinavian, and she's the one who can, even though she's young, she can push the other players by their confidence, and she's something like this winner's gene, like we said in Germany, and she's very important for the motivation of a team, and combined with a coach like Tone Tischel, then this might be a real good option. And when they see, okay, the younger players are scoring, and when you see that she's going through the other defense side. So maybe it was this one-to-one action and the confidence they needed in the group phase, and also that Tone Tischel also built a team in Ljubljana with a lot of stars, and he made a team of it which was highly close to the final, and we even won at Larvik 2 seasons ago. So maybe he's exactly the right person to bring stars together from individual class to a team. This is what Peter said.
Nemanja, is Baia Mare, I mean, obviously there's still 3 matches to go, but is Baia Mare probably the team that Budućnost would least want to play in the quarterfinal?
Well, I'm not so sure about that, but yeah, they're definitely a tough opponent. Speaking personally, if I was to pick a Champions League team by myself, it would look pretty much like Baia Mare, because it's very well balanced and the way they play, it's very good. But I don't know if there is one that Budućnost would like to avoid. I think that their form is timed for them to be on their best on the quarterfinals and up to the Final Four. So I'm not sure that at least mentally they fear any opponent right now. And it's got nothing to do with what they say in the press. It's just my impression that I got. But yeah, I think that looking at all the teams that are here, I think that yeah, Baia Mare could cause damage to Budućnost, but I wouldn't put money on it.
Peter, this is also Viborg's group, the Baia Mare group in Group 2. They are severely struggling with injury problems. I think they had 11 players fit in the last match. Do they have the power to keep, and will enough players recover on time to keep the momentum going so that they can reach the quarterfinal?
The short answer to that would be no. When I look at the remaining matches, I don't see them going through. Their key match will probably be the next one, the away match against Metz in less than 2 weeks. How many of the injured players they will get fit for that is still a big question. I'm not sure that they will get many more fit than the 11 they had on the team sheet for the match against Baia Mare. But I'm pretty convinced that the team who finds its form in the match against Metz and Viborg, we will have to remember that Metz have lost all their 3 main round matches until now. So the team who finds their feet in that match will be the one of the 2 teams who proceed to the quarterfinals, as I definitely see Baia Mare going through. I don't see Viborg getting anything in Romania against Baia Mare, and I don't see them getting anything at home against Larvik, if Larvik are still on the board at that time, and no matter if Larvik have anything at stake when they meet Viborg. So Viborg's chances are in the away match in Metz. That will be the life or death or the win or go away match for them. But in their current condition, I think they will have very big problems, not least as they're also struggling in the Danish league to hang on to the top. Last week they lost an away match to Copenhagen, which they never should have lost. So they also have to focus on not falling too far behind in the Danish league before the playoffs starts there. And that's very difficult riding on those 2 horses with so a few resources. So I definitely have my doubts about Viborg reaching the quarterfinal. I didn't have ahead of the main out. I definitely have now.
Quick switch from Denmark to Germany, Björn. Thüringer HC, HC Leipzig, excuse me, both on 6 points. Who will prevail, one or both? And if only one, who of the 2?
I would say at the very moment, I would say one, because when you see they're both 1 point ahead of Vardar, and I still believe that Vardar win 2 matches. So I would say the winner of the last match day, it's Thüringer HC at home against Leipzig. The winner of this match will go to the quarterfinal. And when you saw not only the statistic in the last years, but also the first leg, that Thüringer HC is at the moment is better than Leipzig, and especially when you see their matches on home ground. That I say, definitely for me, Thüringer HC will go through. But there's still this match. Nobody knows what will happen with the away match of Leipzig. So when they play like they did on home ground against Vardar, and Vardar's without confidence they had. So I would say if Leipzig takes at least 1 point in the next round, so Saturday in a week from Vardar, and then 2 German teams can go through. But I still believe that Vardar will find back their strength, and that, in my opinion, 1 German team will go through, and this is Thüringer HC, at least on the 4th spot, but maybe depending on who are the results on the 3rd spot. But when you look on the other group, it's no matter if you face Gjør or Larvik then. So I would say 1 German team, and in my prediction, it's Thüringer HC.
Well, guys, it's time to put a few names down. With ranks number 1 and 2 probably very much decided in both groups, I'd like to ask you to name teams that you think qualify in 3rd and 4th from both groups, and just because it is tradition, give me your final 4 predictions as well, plus a winner. Any first takers here?
I would like. Then it's over for me.
Go ahead.
Okay. Then for the 3rd and 4th place, I would nominate Metz and Baia Mare. So Baia Mare on 3rd position, Metz on 4th position, and in the other group it's Vardar on 3rd position and Thüringer HC on the 4th position. And I still have the hopes that my original plan at the start of the season with the Final 4 is still possible. I said it's Budapest, Vardar, Baia Mare, and I thought, I said, did I say Larvik? I hope so.
I'd have to go back, but we'll...
I hope so. Otherwise, I would say, okay, I choose those teams. No, I said Gjør. I did not say Larvik. So I changed my opinion from the start of the season to now, switching from Gjør to Larvik. So Budapest, Vardar, Baia Mare and Larvik.
Okay, and
the winner is still Budapest.
Okay. Nemanja, you're next here on my screen. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, although I haven't heard half of what you've said due to internet problems, but Bjorn certainly made it easy with his answer. So I'm going to half guess here what you've asked me.
Yeah.
Starting from my expectations for the Final Four, and sticking with what I've said previously, and I've actually said Larvik, and the next one was the groups, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Yeah. So good.
Yes.
Yeah. So you take Larvik as the eventual winner of the Final Four of the Champions League.
Oh no! I'm taking Larvik as the one to the Final Four. As I've said, Larvik. I have to stick with Vardar because I've said it previously.
Yeah.
So yeah, what will happen? It happened. You know, I said Vardar, so I have to stick with it. But yeah, and Budapest. So. Yeah. For the groups, let's see. From the group 2, I say Larvik. Obviously, I think Baia Mare will find a way through, as well as Metz.
Yeah.
Sorry for Viborg and Sauerhof, but I think that they're not that kind of quality to go through. Group 1, definitely Budapest. Dynamo, of course. Then again, I see Vardar going through, as well as Leipzig, okay. Because I think Leipzig will be the eventual winner in the encounter against Thuringia. I'm following Bjorn's assumption of one German team going through.
Peter, last in row.
This will be a sensational evening, because I think it's one of the very few times where I'm not 100% agreed with Bjorn, and that's about group main one, group 1, of course, where I'm more on the line of Nemanja than with Bjorn. I think we can agree that Vardar will go through, and they will probably go through from a 3rd position. And then I see Leipzig having the better chance to take 4th position. In Group 2, it will, in my opinion, be Baia Mare, who comes with a great finish, which they've already started, finishing 3rd in that main round group and going to the quarterfinals from that position. And as a logical consequence of what I said before around Viborg and their key match in Metz, well, I expect Metz to win that one, and that will mean eventually that Metz go on as 4th in Group 2. Regarding the 4 teams that reach the Final Four, I'm so fortunate that I'm so old that I can never remember what I've said before, so I'm pretty free of earlier predictions. But I would say, as things look now, the 4 teams in the Final Four still giving that we don't know what completely what the quarterfinals will be, but the way it looks, I would say that Larvik, Gjør, Budapest and Baia Mare will be the 4 teams meeting in Budapest in May. And the winner of the tournament, and I'm pretty sure that I'm changing my prediction now, will be Larvik.
Okay, thanks, Peter. Thanks, guys. It was a pleasure talking to you. I'm sure we'll see each other very soon here on another Hangout. But for today, enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for joining, and bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.